WTF Nation Radio. WTF Nation Radio. of U.S. Army WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
Everything stated on WTF Nation Radio is to be considered the opinion of the person that stated it, and not an official representation of WTF Nation Radio or U.S. Army WTF Moments.
Price does not include tax, title, or license. Some assembly required. Each item is sold separately. Batteries not included. Objects in mirror are closer than they appear. If conditions persist, contact a physician. Individual results may vary. Keep out of the reach of children. Avoid prolonged exposure to direct sunlight. Keep in a cool, dark place. And
please enjoy the show. Shots.
All right, everybody. Happy Friday. We made it. We made it, and we're here. Yeah, I love Fridays. I really love Fridays because they're just, It's just it's the end of the week. It's the beginning of the weekend. We get some time off with no responsibility. Well, fewer responsibilities, I guess. I'm joined here tonight here on the lovely the 9th day of October 2020. What's up, Pooky?
What's up? How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. I had a really good week. This is my long week, so I had to work 5 days this week. And it's great because I was able to, we got some, I work a lot of hours, but now I'm able to bring my friends with me. So we've been authorized to work a lot of overtime together. So I'm not going to be the only, poor sap, showing up early and staying late. So that's awesome. I really like I like the guys I work with. I don't work with any ladies anymore. We used to have a young lady who worked with us, and her mom got sick, so she had to put in her resignation. So she went to go hang out with her mom. She worked for a company. I think it was Raytheon, out in the Phoenix area, and she was told that, hey, guess what? Your job is now going to be in Dallas. No. They told her your job is now going to be up in the Pacific Northwest somewhere, like Portland or Seattle or something. She's like, I don't want to go there.
Nah, I wouldn't either.
and she so she came and worked for us here in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, which was good because that's where her family is from. And it was fortunate for her because her mom got sick, which is not fortunate. That really sucks. But she was local, so she didn't have to go very far to tend to her mom, which is awesome. I'm glad we probably could have worked with her as far as time off and work commitment and things like that. But so here we are. It's Friday. If you notice, my background here is everybody except for one guy that I work with would notice that's the Eddie Van Halen splash. So Eddie Van Halen has left this earth. He'd been fighting cancer he was battling cancer for a very long time. He was I didn't know that. No. He was deep in the woods. He was out of the woods. He was getting better, and then he got sick again. And it's just I've heard a lot of rumors. Don't know if it's true or not. But he was in and out, and he was really going through some shit. And unfortunately, Eddie Van Halen has passed. He passed on the 6th. So Eddie Ludwig Van Halen, he was married to Valerie Bertinelli for a very long time, 1981 to 2007.
Well, so a little over almost 40 years almost.
And they only had one son. The name of his son was Wolfgang.
Wolfgang, that's legit.
He's Eddie Van Halen. He's not an American. Well, he's an American citizen, but he was born in Amsterdam, and he was brought over to the United States at a very young age. Him and his brother Alex, they formed Van Halen, and that was it. I never realized how influential Eddie Van Halen was. Eddie Van Halen was an influence on my life before I even became a musician. He was just the coolest dude, jumping around on stage with either a cigarette and his guitar in his mouth, and he's just playing. He's just really, really good. He was just really, it's not that he was, you can look at him and you can listen to him and you can wow, he's really good. But then when they first hit the mainstream, it's just this dude's really different. He plays guitar completely different than anybody else back in the day. And it's just wow, the very first album I had of Van Halen was 1984. I got it as a Christmas present. And before that, I was raised in kind of a strict household where rock and roll wasn't allowed, and my mom and dad I experienced rock and roll through friends of mine at school. I'm going to date myself. I graduated high school in 1987. So before that, I was my dad was always Kenny Rogers was like the cassette tape. My dad bought this new tape deck and it looked all badass, and
Kenny
he had
Rogers.
ABBA. My first concert was John Denver and ABBA. Somewhere, I think it was in the Louisville, Kentucky area. We lived in New Albany, Indiana at that time, and we drove for a ways, and we went to a John Denver concert. So that's my John Denver. That's about as heavy as I got when I was a child. But growing up, you get friends in school. So I became friends with his guy. His name is Jeff Hilber. And his dad owned an Osco drugstore, and we would go over to his house like right after school or something, or in between sports or whatever. And we would he had like a jukebox in the basement, and in this jukebox there were Black Sabbath albums, Iron Maiden albums.
Oh, the good stuff.
Oh my gosh! And Ozzy Osbourne, Blizzard of Oz. I ended up buying that record. There was an LP from him. Oh, was it Blizzard of Oz? Speak of the Devil. It was Speak of the Devil. It was a 2-album set, and you open up the album, and here's Ozzy Osbourne sitting on this throne. And he's got like blood and guts and teeth and fangs and stuff. Just
yeah.
So I had a stereo in my room. I got it for Christmas one year, and it had a record player on it, so I can play LPs, which is like a CD, but small, but much larger.
In my opinion, they sound better than CDs, but that's just my personal opinion.
I think they do, as long as you have a really good needle and a stable system. Anyway, my mom and dad, I don't know who found it. Either my mom or my dad found it, but I came home from school one day, and all of my LPs and my stereo were crushed into pieces, and they were in a box sitting on top of my dresser where my stereo once sat. My parents did not approve of my musical choices.
Not many parents do.
So I was I was exposed to Van Halen. For some reason, it's my, how parents kind of grow out of this. They're like, okay, this is just music, whatever. I don't know what flipped the switch in their head, but so I got this one Christmas. I forget what year it was. I got Van Halen 1984, and my grandmother, God rest her soul, gave me AC/DC For Those About to Rock. We Salute You.
Wow, that's pretty legit, huh?
I'm really positive that she had no idea what that music was, what AC/DC was. I think she went to the store and went into the rock and roll section and just picked out the first thing that popped up.
She picked out that Akadaka that everyone's talking about.
Right. So that was my. I was so impressed with Eddie Van Halen. Even if you look at my YouTube history, I watch people that play hard music, and I'm just like, these guys make it look so easy. Eddie Van Halen, there's videos of him doing sound checks just very, very recently, just screaming and he died at the age of 65. He just screaming. Even at 65 years old, he's just such a virtuoso. It's not, he didn't just play the guitar. He played keyboards. He played tons of other instruments. He comes from a very musical family. So, wow, man, it was amazing to me to experience Eddie Van Halen. He was just not just a good musician. He was so unique, and there are so many people that try to mimic what Eddie Van Halen does, and they do it successfully to some degree, but there's not quite. You don't ever capture that Eddie Van Halen sound. It's just, a lot of people are like, hey, name your. If you're such a Van Halen fan, what's your favorite song? What's your favorite Eddie Van Halen song? I'm like, well, he's in kind of all the songs. My favorite, a lot of people will point to Eruption as being like the most badass guitar solo. But
that's as guitars go, that's probably one of the most notable ones.
It is. But if you listen to Van Halen, I really liked All Fired Up, the song All Fired Up. That's probably one of my favorite songs. I should have queued it up. I don't have it queued up. But it's just good. He makes the guitar talk, and I'm not talking like a talk box. He expresses the guitar, and it's so very cool, and it's just an excellent sound. And I'm really sad that Eddie passed. An interesting story. I was at work when the news came out that Eddie Van Halen had passed, and I'm like, "Hey guys, Eddie Van Halen died." And they're like, "What? Really? I didn't know he was sick." And this, that, and the other. This dude, medically retired Marine, 31 years old. His birthday is going to be like next week or something. He's like, "I've heard of him." What do you mean you've heard of him? Oh, I was very disappointed, man. So Randy, if you're listening, you've been judged. Heath Barlow says, my favorite Van Halen song is Every Rose Has Its Thorn. I did not know that he did a version of that. That's pretty badass. So he was married to Valerie Bertinelli from 1981 to 2007. They had a son, Wolfgang. He remarried in 2009 to a woman. Her name is Janie Liszewski. And they've been married ever since 2009. Van Halen's been together for over 4 decades, and they've put together more than 12 or more than a dozen albums. And plus, they've all had their share of vocalists. I mean, because you've had Van Halen's is known for David Lee Roth, but then there's Sammy Hagar was there. Van Hagar. You get the haters between the David Lee Roth and Sammy Hagar. I really don't judge the band by their lead singer. I really like the musicality of everything. So I enjoy David Lee Roth equally with Sammy Hagar. Gary Cherone was a lead singer for Van Halen for a short time. He, if you guys don't know who Gary Cherone is, he was the lead singer for the band called Extreme. So yeah, there's a little bit of music history, I suppose there.
Oh yeah. Didn't what is the guitarist from the Red Hot Chili Peppers also just pass away like today, or was it yesterday or some time frame?
I don't know. Not Flea.
I thought I saw it. I don't know. Maybe I was having one of my.
Oh no! It was yes. Please forgive me. I don't remember his name.
I was never really much of a Red Hot Chili Peppers fan, so when I saw that, I was just like, "Oh, that's sad," and I don't want to bet my business.
When I was a DJ, I really liked Red Hot Chili Peppers. The ladies liked the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Yeah. This of course is 90s,
like
late 90s,
Blackmore,
yeah,
Ronnie James Dio guy. So
that me too. I've kind of spread my wings as far as my musical preferences go. If you look at any of my playlists or any of my musics, it's nuts, dude. I've got rap, I've got rock, I've got really old rock, I've got old blues. It's
blues is where it's at. I started getting into that a couple of years back. I started listening to the blues, and I was like, man, why? I used to play bass and guitar, and I was like, why did I never not listen to this? It's just like blew my mind. I was like, this is some legit shit.
I think the only, and please forgive me, Holly, the only music I don't really enjoy. I enjoy some country music. I don't enjoy country music as a genre. There's some country music that I do enjoy, but I'm never ever gonna go out and buy an album or a CD or download an MP3 of anything.
That's what Spotify's for anyways these days. We don't do this.
Doc Derrick's like, he has over 40,000 in his iTunes library.
That's nuts.
That is crazy. So our first story, and now that we're like almost halfway through the first hour.
Oh yeah.
Very important news. We were talking about Mr. Eddie Van Halen passing, but the really important news is Hurricane Delta. So Wallbreaker, I guess if you're here, I hope that you are safe. Wallbreaker is in Louisiana. So Hurricane Delta is about to or has already made landfall. I haven't had a chance to update my news. Trying to throw all this broadcast together. It kind of takes me away from stuff.
I got the current update up right in front of me right now, actually.
Oh, excellent.
If I can get
Go for it.
If I could get my mouse wheel to scroll properly. It's currently moving inland through Louisiana. Hurricane warnings are effect. Upper Texas coast and part of Louisiana. Storm surge, destructive winds, flooding, rain, isolation, tornadoes, all expected. So it's hit as a Category 2 and will be downgraded here shortly, is what they're saying. It is now a Category 1.
They were saying it was going to hit as a 3. I'm glad it only hit as a 2.
No, that's just crazy. Louisiana has not gotten a break this year. This is the third one that's hit them so far.
The thing is, every one of them is like, okay, it looks like it's going to hit Houston, then right turn, Clyde, into Louisiana.
Like Lake Charles has just been battered this year.
So my news story, it was kind of caveats off of Pooky's little story there. Louisiana residents confronting the menace of a new hurricane weeks after one battered parts of the state and got stark warnings yesterday to brace for winds that could turn all the uncollected debris into dangerous missiles and again knock out power to thousands. Forecasts showed Delta had strengthened into a Category 3 hurricane as it bears down on the state, carrying winds of up to 115 miles an hour and the potential to deliver a storm surge of up to 11 feet when it arrives tonight, actually now. The projected path included is the southwest area of Louisiana where Category 4 Hurricane Laura made landfall less than 2 months ago. Laura has been blamed for more than 30 deaths. The mayor of Lake Charles, where thousands of residents remain without shelter following the earlier hurricane, told the residents that even if their homes had survived Hurricane Laura, they shouldn't assume that they will survive Hurricane Delta. If anybody's watched Storm Chasers, the lead chaser's name's Reed Timmer, and he's got a Facebook page. He posts a lot. So he's there. He was actually in Cancun when Hurricane Delta came in, and then he left.
Is that what they hit Cancun is like a Category 3 or 4, didn't it?
Yes, it was. And he was out there driving around in it, and there's pictures of him and just doing
my kind of man.
Doing storm chaser stuff, which is great. If you get paid for that, that's completely awesome. I think I'm very much jealous.
My little sister was gonna do that 1 year, but she got a trip to Antarctica instead, and so.
Cool. I don't know.
Supposed to intern. She's a meteorologist. She really wanted to do it, but she's really big into the whole core sample thing. So she wanted to go down to Antarctica and drill core samples. So
I commend your sister at that, just because you can always, in the United States of America, every year you're going to have you're going to experience tornadoes and things like that, meteorological events like that, hurricanes, tornadoes, whatever. Not too often do you get a chance to go down to the Antarctica.
South Pole at that.
Are they COVID free down there?
I have no idea. I bet they would be, because they're pretty isolated.
So anyway, the eye of the hurricane is headed toward Vermilion Bay. I don't know where Vermilion Bay is, but it's in Louisiana. The destructive wind line is headed exactly towards Lake Charles, which just got devastated by Laura. It's amazing. Hurricane Laura hit 2 months ago, right? And they're already through the alphabet, and they're at the Greek alphabet, the Delta, letter Delta.
Well, we're almost through the worst of the hurricane season now.
Definitely.
It ends in November.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, and just because the calendar date passes doesn't mean we're not going to get another one, but chances are very, very low. I don't think there's any active disturbances in the Gulf or even coming off of the coast of Africa. So I think we're kind of in the clear as far as that goes.
Yeah, when you live on the coast, you pay attention to the hurricanes quite a bit.
Right, but you guys are going to hit some of this rain because it came up. It came up. It's coming up Louisiana, but it's already started to turn east, and it's going to hit. I mean, Nashville's going to get a bunch of rain. Kentucky, everything from Louisiana east. So all the southeast states are going to get something because of Hurricane Delta.
Well, I hope I get lucky enough and not get any rain. That's what I'm hoping for.
So all of us here in Texas are just like, okay, hurricane, we're going to get some rain. And then it goes, oh, no. You get no. No, you guys
don't like Texas this year.
Not this year. I'm not really complaining. I do like rain every once in a while. It's been a really dry summer, especially up here. I don't know, but I think Spanky's gotten more rain than I have.
We had one come through a while back.
It was either last week or the week before that. It was like your connection was kind of sketch.
The one that came through a while back, it made landfall in North Carolina, and I live right near North Carolina, on the South Carolina side, and we got the side of the hurricane come in, not the eye wall or anything like that. I sat outside, drank beer, watched it. It only lasted for about 3 hours. That's how fast it was moving, like 3 hours. Like, all right, cool. I was waiting for trees to start snapping, to see cats flying on the roof and stuff. And
that's kind of one of the rules. Well, it's like tornadoes here in Texas. I mean, you have to go outside and with a beer in hand, and you have to look at the sky and okay.
Watch it tear through the trailer park, huh?
Or when you start hearing the sirens, you're like, okay, maybe I'll go inside. Until then, it's just a hurricane, or it's just a tornado. So what's your go-to drink when you get thirsty? Do you go through like Gatorade, water? Are you a water guy?
I like to, this sounds going to sound really weird, but I like to take Powerade and cut it with water 50-50 if I'm really thirsty. I don't like to drink pure Powerade because it's just too sugary.
It's very sugary. That's why I don't drink Powerade. I don't drink Powerade just because it's like Kool-Aid.
Gatorade's just, I think Gatorade's just nasty. I mean, this is
my ex-wife. She used to be. She used to study genetics. She was in the master's level genetics courses in college, and she had an opinion about everything that I drank. Milk. She didn't like milk.
Milk.
And she's like, Gatorade. That's just chemical sweat. That's all that is. I don't care.
Milk is supposed to be like one of the best hydrating things you can drink.
I love milk. That's what I've heard. But I do like milk. I do like Gatorade. I usually keep some Gatorade on tap. You know, when it's on the hot days, I'm cutting the grass and sweating, and it's just a good boost for the electrolytes and stuff. But
that's what beer's for.
Sometimes that really feels good and that tastes delicious, and there's so many good things that just happen. I mean, pizza and beer taste really, really good. Or if you're out working, you're playing football or sports or whatever, you come inside and a beer really tastes good. A beer tastes really delicious during an outside barbecue or something. But what about a Pabst Blue Ribbon? When I say Pabst Blue Ribbon to the Pooky, what is that?
That's I was being stationed at Fort Hood. That was like the go-to cheap beer to get for all the guys in the barracks. Wow.
I think our go-to, we had Little Kings. Little Kings, well, during AIT, it was Little Kings. When I was at Fort Hood was my first duty station. The cheap beer choice was Miller High Life or Old Milwaukee's Best.
Ugh.
Yeah. PBR was the beer that like my dad kept in the garage. He'd have like cases and cases of PBR in the garage, and as he wanted beer, he would bring a 6-pack or whatever and put it in the refrigerator. Some friends of mine had dads that had like little vending machines, so they'd stock it. It was like a Coke machine, but it was all full of PBR cans. Or bottles.
PBR was a big thing down there in Texas, I remember. I mean, all the yippies and hipsters.
All the hipsters kind of reawoken the Pabst Blue Ribbon. They're an old ass brewery. We talked about Yuengling. Yuengling is the oldest brewery in the United States. Pabst Blue Ribbon is right behind them. Right behind them. They're not very far apart. So we talked last week about different like seltzers and hard ciders that are coming out. Well, PBR has jumped on the bandwagon. They actually have a high alcohol beer, but they've also come out with a cannabis infused seltzer. I don't know.
Sounds like a good time.
There's the graphic that I forgot to post. There's the hurricane. Yeah.
Dirt.
There. So Pabst Blue Ribbon has come out with a cannabis infused seltzer. There's no alcohol in it at all. It's very easy on the if you guys are watching carbs and all that other stuff, it's all good. So Pabst Blue Ribbon has jumped on two big trends, cannabis and seltzer. The 176-year-old American lager beer company announced its newest non-alcoholic beverage, cannabis-infused seltzer. Introducing a different kind of buzz is what their advertising line is.
Cannabis infused, does it have alcohol in it, or is it just like THC?
It's THC. It's THC.
So it's just like a gummy, but
it's a gummy, but you drink it.
That's pretty cool.
We did, WTF Nation Radio did a trip to Denver for the it was the Freedom On Fest. We had bands like Assuming We Survive, Atreyu was there. It was just great. Everybody we all piled in this apartment that we rented, and got to see all these really great bands and experience some really good people. And we had a day off. We raced go-karts, and I lost horribly. Pie beat everyone's ass. But we also went to a distillery. In this, not a distillery, what do they call that? Not a distribution point.
Distribution center.
It was a pot shop. It was just
dispensary.
a dispensary. That's the word. Damn. So we got to go through a dispensary, and it wasn't an official tour. We just kind of showed up. We pulled up in this parking lot. It kind of looked it kind of looked pretty sketchy when we pulled up. There was probably 10 cars in the parking lot, and we pulled up in Mom's her swagger wagon, and I think Spanky probably had Spanky had her minivan as well, and we all got out and kind of went in. And when you first walk in, they kind of they don't pat you down. They check your ID. They make sure you're legit. Okay, you're from out of state. You're only limited to, I think they limited us to like 1 ounce a day. And I'm like, okay, I'm this is not for me, but all these other folks are doing
1 ounce a day.
1 ounce a day.
Who smokes that much?
I don't know, but you're limited by law for out of state residents at 1 ounce. So we go through, and various folks are choosing things, and I'm like taking pictures and going, wow, this is going to be cool. And we had a couple of folks in there that were just buying a bunch of edibles, sodas, seltzers, gummies, little gummies. Some people were actually buying the marijuana, and it was great because we had cameras up in the apartment, and the people who were smoking were outside smoking. The people who were partaking in the edibles were partaking in the edibles, and I'm sitting on the couch just watching this all go down. And it was great.
You had to be the responsible one.
I was. It's not like we were going anywhere. We went out and I grabbed some beer. It was great. It was just it was an uptown area in downtown Denver, and it was great because you go downstairs and there's shops, and it was a beautiful area. I would not mind living there. It was awesome. So we ended up getting some Shiner Bock, and I was up there drinking some beers, and everyone else is just higher than fuck. It was great because they're eating all of these edibles, they're drinking these edible sodas, and they're like, "Oh, I don't feel shit," so they have another one, and then they have cannabis infused chocolates, and all of a sudden, freaking everybody's passed out. And I'm like, well, and that's what I've heard about edibles. I've tried them before. I just don't like the way it makes me feel.
Oh, that's the only way That's the only way I like them now. I like smoking. It makes me paranoid. You can take a couple nibbles off an edible and just sit and relax.
I just don't. I don't. When I tried it, it's just you eat it and you kind of your mind just kind of expects something to happen and something completely different happens. It's not like it's weird or bad, but it's just okay. After an hour and you don't feel shit, you're just like, what the hell? And then you forget about it. Then 30 minutes after that, you're like, holy crap, I can't feel my butt cheeks. It's just crazy. So I didn't like that. So anyway, PBR is doing the cannabis-infused seltzers. Only 11 states and the District of Columbia have made recreational marijuana use legal for adults over the age of 21, whereas 33 states, Washington, D.C., and 4 U.S. territories have made medical marijuana legal. Seamus Gallagher, brand manager for PBR, said, "Until the legal landscape changes, we can't produce this in-house." But the formation of Pabst Labs, a licensed cannabis operator involving former Pabst Blue Ribbon employees and cannabis beverage experts, gave us a unique chance to grant the use of our brand to a cannabis-savvy group that we could trust to develop an infused drink worthy of the Blue Ribbon. Cannabis-infused seltzer is available for purchase in California marijuana dispensaries, and it can only be shipped to addresses where recreational marijuana is legal when ordered online. I did not know that you could ship a cannabis, not CBD, because that's completely something different. I did not know that you could ship a THC laced product anywhere. I'm guessing you
found some sort of loophole around that.
I'm guessing you can't do that with the U.S. Postal Service. You might be able to do it with FedEx or UPS.
Unless they're just talking about shipping it directly to like distribution spots or whatever it is.
Or a personal courier is what I'm thinking.
Yeah. This is crossing some of them state lines. That stuff. Those state troopers would be loving that, huh?
So there's a cost associated to this. So how much do you think? Let's say a 4-pack of four 12-ounce cans of cannabis infused soda seltzer cost. Pookie's going to the store.
I'm looking at it. It says 5 milligrams of THC. I'm guessing about 20 a can, so maybe about $80, maybe.
If you want to buy a case, which is 24 cans, it's $120.
Holy crap!
Which comes down to it's about $6 a can. That's not bad when you look at it by the can. Okay, the edibles that I had, the one that I tried was those were 5 milligram edibles, and I didn't like it. It raised my blood pressure, and I was just like, I could feel my heart just going da-dung, 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 da-dung. I'm here. I'm here. So, and these are 5 milligram per 12 ounce vessel. These little cans, I think they're 12 or 9 ounce. That looks like a 9 ounce can. That kind of looks like a Red Bull can if you're getting serious there.
Someone's getting mad in the chats that we're talking about marijuana.
Well, why is that? Because they can't have none?
Because it's federally illegal. It
is federally illegal. And I think that needs to change. Not for me. I really think it needs to change because it's just so stupid that you've got all these other states, 11 states that have recreationally legalized it. But then those folks who are partaking legally in the sale, in the growth and the sale of various different marijuana products that have THC in them, it's a cash business. So they're walking around with hundreds of thousands of dollars that they have to essentially launder in order to get that stuff into their accounts.
Because the banks aren't legally allowed. That's why Bitcoin's doing so well right now.
I think I was looking into that, and I think that's partially due to the the marijuana industry in the United States. You get a bunch
way
of
to launder your money around.
It's
a very way to do it.
And these dispensaries are making money hand over fist. So what do? You find some kind of a broker. They've got ATM machines in Dallas that you can deposit money into your Bitcoin account. I haven't seen one personally, but that's just what I've heard. I don't know. I think that cryptocurrency is just it's such a pretend. It's a pretend
behind
thing.
it. A lot of people just can't grasp it.
I can't wrap my head around it. It's a pretend money. It's a monopoly money thing. It's not even. I think monopoly money is more real than Bitcoin. There have been people
exactly pretty much. Yeah, I guess you could say that.
There was a guy. I read this story, and I should have brought that into the mix tonight. But there was a guy that got arrested for selling Bitcoin illegally, but it wasn't Bitcoin. It was Chuck E. Cheese tokens.
I read that story. Well, it's just people being ignorant about it. Oh, Bitcoin's worth a lot of money. Here's some tokens.
I mean, when one Bitcoin is several $1,000s and this guy's got a pocket full of them.
People don't ask. Everyone wants to get rich quick. That's exactly it.
Oh, and I do too, but I understand that it takes work, and maybe it's just not meant for me. I make a comfortable living for myself, and I don't envy those. I don't envy rich people like Bill Gates or anybody else, Donald Trump or whatever, who have.
Oh no,
I don't care. I really don't care. My
have
life.
That much money, just. I mean, I'd like to comfortable, like maybe like 50 mil, just to retire on and have a ranch somewhere. And just that'd be nice, but.
Would it be nice to go to Italy and buy some kind of a chateau or even a big ass mansion and live in there for maybe 1 or 2 or 3 months out of the year and then go somewhere else? That would be great.
That would be awesome. I'd get me a little shanty in Ireland somewhere, that would work too.
So Spanky's been posting pictures. Apparently she found a kind of a good looking place in Italy. So I'm going to help her move. You can hold so much stuff in a minivan. It's amazing. I think it might take us 2 trips.
Okay.
I don't know, man. What's enough? I mean, what's enough, man? I'm very happy where I'm at. I'm happy in my life. I'm happy with what I've done. I think I've done pretty well for myself. I'm happy. So you can't really put a dollar sign on that. If you did put like a lot of zeros after the decimal point, or before the decimal point rather, would it be better? I don't know. I would have more money. Would I be happier? I'm happy with the job that I've got. Yeah, more money, more problems. I'm happy with. I can pay my bills. I don't have to worry about shit. Sure, I stress about some things, and can I afford this and can I afford that? But I earn what I've got. Everything that I've got, I've earned. The only thing that the bank owns is the balance on my car and my house. My student loans are paid off. My one daughter's college education is paid for, and I'm working on the other. That'll take probably another 2 years, which is fine.
It's legit.
I'm happy where I'm at. I don't need anything. I'm not a needful person. I save up and I do some home improvements, and I save up some more and I do some more home improvements. My kids are responsible. They're doing good. God, my daughter got a job at another bakery. She quit. She had a job at she was a confection chef at a resort in Montana, and then she quit that job, and she's working as a baker in a bakery, and she's having the time of her life. She loves it. That's great. That's all I want is just to be
what
happy.
You love.
That's
you
all she
love
wants.
life.
That's all she wants to do is be happy, which is, it's awesome. I can't. Money, I think you're exactly right. More money, more problems.
So I couldn't imagine having so much money. Like they did. I don't know if you've seen, like Ellen did a show with Bill Gates on it, and she was asking him the price of like regular household items.
How much does a gallon of milk cost? Well, I don't know.
He was like $20. You know, like the dude's so out of it. Like
there's folks out there, and the thing is, these folks in the post tonight, I said that we are, what was that? I'm looking at it again. 92.5% politics free. I'm going to hold to that. I don't want to get into politics. I hate politics. This whole week has been
I'm
nothing.
just waiting. We've got like 25 days left till all this insanity just ceases for a little bit.
But is it really going to cease?
It's crazy. Okay, I can't watch a YouTube video without getting like 20 political ads. It's getting ridiculous. I can't wait till it's over with. I don't have to watch. I get with the Weather Channel. I watch the Weather Channel. I'm getting one dude, this dude, that dude, this dude. I don't care anymore. I'm done.
Hurricane Delta is a freaking Delta. That means Democrat. That hurricane's a Democrat. Everything is so political now, and it's tiring. I feel you.
American politics. You know, you don't want to talk politics, but I just want to say it has devolved into a bunch of. It's like humans flinging shit at each other at a zoo. Pretty much.
We are a bunch of retarded monkeys flinging poo. And I say that because I'm an American too. I'm an American too. I am an American. And guess what? We Americans are. This is just so toxic, and it takes away. There's friends of mine that post shit. I'm just like, oh my fucking God, I knew you leaned left, but this is rabid stuff. I'm guessing that, you know, friendships are ending because of political affiliations.
It's working both ways, man. It goes both ways. Both sides are doing it. It's horrible.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I hate it. I really hate it. I mean, my sister-in-law is even like she's just like, so she's not left, or she's not. I think she's more of a libertarian, but she's just like, you know, fuck everything. Just fuck them all. We just need a revolution, overthrow the government.
It's just insane.
I hate it. And it tears at me because at work, when I go to work, I work with an extremely diverse, age diverse, race diverse amount of people. And there's never been, I'm pretty vocal as far as what I believe. Because, you know, I've got guys, I've got one guy that works in my lab who actually, who has a second job. He works for the Dallas Cowboys. And he just does a lot of behind the scenes type stuff. He'll take the teams from a locker room to the field, or from the field way up to the locker rooms during the halftime stuff. He's like, "Hey man, did you catch that game last night?" I'm like, "Fuck the NFL," and not realizing that the NFL is a part of his livelihood. So I'm almost kind of a backdoor insult to a very good friend of mine. And it's things like that, you know. If you say fuck Trump, you know, you're personally insulting someone who actually would support President Trump and the things that he's accomplished, the things that he's done. Or it's like fuck Joe Biden. You're like, you know, people who would support Joe Biden would take it personally. Things that, you know, it's not a politics thing. It's just like, I like the color brown. Well, fuck the color brown. I hate the color brown.
Yeah, that's what it's devolved into now.
It's so horrible.
You can say, hey, look, the sky is so blue today. Fuck you, it's not blue.
No, fuck, I hate the color blue. Blue can just kiss my ass. It's horrible, man, because people are actually having physical conflicts because someone doesn't like the color blue. You know, in blue, I don't mean to bring up the color blue, because blue is right, and red is or I'm sorry, red is right and blue is left, and I don't know. We're all next door neighbors, man. And it's just, you might have a political ideation that leads you towards more social spending, or more lenient things towards immigrants and illegal immigrants, and education and free stuff for everybody. But then there's other people who actually support, you earn what you get. There's nothing is free. You got to earn what you have. And there are physical fights and groups that are just being physical. I mean, Antifa and shit like that. And it's almost, everyone's like, you got to look out for the Civil War. I'm like, I really don't think so. I think if everyone turned off the television.
Hell yeah.
I really think if everyone turned off the television, what I think the television does is you got a bunch of talking heads on there that tell you what to think. And then they tell you the story. You don't get the information first. You're told what to think, and then
it's happening the same in social media lately. They've been censoring certain groups with a different opinion.
What's the QAnon thing? I'm not a follower of QAnon. I really don't know who QAnon is.
According to the mainstream media, they're a bunch of whack jobs.
Okay.
I've read into some of it a little deeper.
Mm-hmm.
And they have some really weird conspiracy theories, but a few of them have actually popped out to be somewhat semi-true. Some of them are just like lizard people eating brains and babies and stuff
okay,
like that.
But that's fine. But the reason, like Facebook was canceling or muting or demonetizing or whatever.
They deplatformed everything regarding QAnon.
Like everything, even though they started floating the child abduction things.
The Pizzagate thing was what really set it off. One dude went into a pizza place in DC waving a gun around trying to free the kids, which, it was a noble thing, but there was no children there or a basement in the pizza place.
Thank you, Ursula, for the very kind words. I appreciate you as well. Thank you for listening. I really hope I got your name right. My name is like really easy. It's KOZ. It's KOZ. Even if you said KOZ, I would know what that means. But it looks like you're Ursula.
Online, for some reason, people like to call me Spooky, but it's just spelled Pooky.
It's just Pooky. First, I was like, Pokey. Who's Poke? Oh,
Pooky.
Yeah, the QAnon thing, they're in and out. They're mostly out, but it's some of the things, if you throw enough shit at the wall, something's going to stick. And QAnon has been accurate on some things, and they've been way off base and completely stupid.
A broken clock is right twice a day. It always works like that. Alex Jones was right about a few things. Doesn't make 99% of the crap coming out of his mouth right.
Dow chemicals in the water is making the frogs gay.
Oh God, I got that sound bit.
Do you really?
Yeah, dude.
So everything. So I'm gonna work on this 90. What did I say? 92.5. 92.5 politics free. I think we're still doing that.
Is it 8%? You said 8.5%.
It'll be 7.5. 7.5% is the balance. So I think we're going to talk about a little bit of politics for the next 7 minutes of this hour, and then we'll hit the ground running with some other stuff. So Jo Jorgensen and Spike Cohen are running as the independent candidates for the presidency of the United States. I see a lot of their posts online. I have a lot of friends that support that platform. I have not seen one sign. I have not seen any one. I see signs that say vote Democrat. I've seen signs that say vote Republican, and then all of the Democratic and all of the Republican candidates that are in those groups. I have not seen anything Green Party. I have not seen anything. No Jo Jorgensen Cohen ticket type things for the Libertarian Party. They have like, I don't know who supports these folks, but I get online and I've got friends, and they're you look at their social media and there's lots. There's a lot. There's a whole lot. But
there's a really big movement online.
There really is a big movement online, but when I bring it up at work, they're like, "Who?"
My wasted vote. Don't waste your vote.
No, when I bring it up at work, they're like, "Who's that?"
Oh yeah.
They're like, "Hey, who did you talk to last week?"
Refuses to even mention them.
Who did you talk to last week on the radio? Because everyone at my work knows that about WTF Nation Radio and U.S. Army WTF Moments. Who did you guys interview last week? Oh, it was Spike Cohen. Well, who's that? Well, he's the vice president candidate for the Libertarian Party, and the president would be Joe Jorgensen. Who's that? Who's he? Is the first question I get. Who's he? Well, it's a she, and she is running as an independent candidate. She's a doctor. She has a sociology background. She's pretty freaking smart, and her running mate is Spike Cohen, and they're like, I've never heard of them. I see no campaign signs.
No.
In my personal neighborhood, I don't see anything. Across the street, I saw one Biden sign, and that's about it. I don't see a lot of... I see a lot of the campaign signs around the polling stations. I drive by 2 polling stations on the way to the interstate so I can get to work. And it's just a mixed bag of stuff. So I don't know, man. I don't know if I support what Joe Jorgensen and Spike Cohen are talking about. I just don't think that they've got what it takes to implement. It's more than becoming president and then implementing things. You need cooperation and support with your colleagues, and that it takes to be that other person when you have a Republican and a Democrat party in the Congress and Senate to throw in a POTUS that's neither of those. It takes a lot of work to get a consensus and to earn some cooperation. That's my only. I mean, I love them both, but I don't know if they can get it done. They've got great goals, great everything, but I don't know if they can get it done.
It's like I know a lot of people who just firmly believe that I would vote for them, but I don't want to waste my vote because if I vote for this person, then I'm wasting. I'm pretty much voting for that other person. And the whole concept blows my mind.
But if everybody would just make up their mind and turn off the damn television and decide what they want, and not let the television tell them what they should want. If there was more grassroots, I really think Joe and Spike would do a lot better if them and people like them would get into local organizations, local political organizations, and work that way from the ground up, as opposed to this from the. It seems like it's just like aim for the stars. With the top down type thing. I think they would do a lot of good and it wouldn't take 4 years. It wouldn't take 8 years. It might take 50 years. It may take 100 years to change Americans' mind that the two-party system is not working. I don't know. I think Ross Perot is probably the first presidential candidate that I paid attention to that was neither Republican nor Democrat.
He ran debated alongside and kind of just got silent after that.
So why?
Yeah, what's his name? The last election, what was his face? The Aleppo guy. What's Aleppo? What was his name? Gary Johnson.
Gary Johnson.
He had a little spill there for a little bit. And
a little bit, but not much. Kind of a flash in the pan type thing. These folks have really, great ideas, good, but it kind of breaks the status quo because you're either, there's so much. Raph, who used to be a host of the Green Room, is a big Joe Jorgensen supporter, and
I say it. I'm a libertarian. I've been a libertarian for a very long time. I support the movement and everything, but they ain't gonna get much anywhere unless you start from the bottom and work your way up. There's not enough people in the Congress to make an effect of anything at this point.
Exactly. And okay, great. Now we have an independent president and an independent vice president. So what's next? What does that mean?
It'd just be a lame duck at that point.
It would be 4 years of lame duck nothingness in the first term. I think that, and that's my personal opinion. I'm a confused voter. I know who I'm voting for this year. Actually, early voting starts next week. What's today? The 9th? Yep, next Tuesday.
See, was it Maine did change their voting system up to a preferential voting system? It was either Maine. It was somewhere up in New England.
Preferential. Tell me about that. What does that mean?
Preferential voting is kind of like, okay, I vote for it's like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 thing, right? So 1 being the guy I want the most,
okay.
2 being the guy I want second, and 5 being the worst. So you go through the list. So you say, oh, I like the Libertarian, so I vote 1, but then, I really don't like these other 2 guys or this guy, so I'm gonna vote 2 just in case.
So who do you like worse? Okay, I got it.
Yeah, and then like they add all the votes up. Say your number 1 guy only makes a certain percentage, then your number 2 vote kicks over into the next guy, and it works its way down.
All that seems to me, just from a mathematics point of view, that just means a higher resolution of vote tabulation.
Yeah, it'd be a little harder, but then you get the whole I'm wasting my vote thing out the window. I could vote for whoever I want to and not feel as though I'm wasting votes.
I get that, but you're going to say, okay, so let's say Joe Biden won this election, and looking at Maine, he received 54% of the vote, but of those voters that voted for Joe Biden, they also liked, for 90% of those voters liked Joe Jorgensen. So they kind of, I guess that would be an indication of them, of the thought process of choosing the less of 2 evils.
Yeah, I guess.
I hate politics, but man, it's our life. It's how the country is run, and I don't think that a vote is wasted just because of the way that our electoral process is. And I would encourage people to go out and vote, and please learn your candidates, learn your issues, and pick the best candidate for the job.
Read news past the headlines, please.
Yes, past the headlines. Read the stories. Investigate, check the facts, man, because there's a lot of BS out there. I think Nick Palmiscano from Black Rifle Coffee Company says, if you need to be told to vote, you probably shouldn't be voting.
Exactly.
So anyway, hey, we're going to take a break. I'm sure I see Pooky's getting a little bit fidgety in there. So
yeah.
All right, so we'll be back in. Let me count. 3, 6. It's going to be a short break. 7 minutes.
Running around like a chicken with my head chopped off. All right.
7 minutes, man. We'll be back.
WTF Nation Radio. WTF Nation Radio.
WTF Nation Radio.
Take the things so that you'll never have to.
WTF Nation Radio.
I like to get to know you so I can show you. Put your hook and ya like I told you.
Hell yeah!
So I can phone ya.
Here we are, part 2.
Call me over. Not on the bed, lay me on the sofa.
Part 2 of, I was going to say Kicking It with KOZ, but that's not a thing anymore. This is Friday Night Freedom. You know, all that dancing stuff is usually Owl's thing. But no, this is Friday Night Freedom, man. We're having a good time. We're done talking with politics. Done.
No more politics.
Well, there might be. Here's where the 0.5 comes in. There's 0.5% politics. Oof. I'm looking at 2 of the stories, and I'm just like, I could just leave the political party of these mayors out of the list.
Yeah, you could do that, and it would like just solve the problem there.
Okay. All right. Here we go. Thank you all, everybody, for hanging out here on WTF Nation Radio. Apparently, we're not up on Periscope. I don't know. Maybe I need to get with with our broadcast gods and figure out what do I need to do as a broadcaster to get up on Periscope, because I thought that was handled with our new way of streaming. So, this is definitely not politically related. Heard they got big snakes down in the Everglades that are not native species.
Yes, Burmese python.
Burmese pythons. They're big. I remember hearing about them in school, and when you hear about them in the Amazon, they're pretty massive, and they're not aggressive. It's just they're good at what they do. They'll go and grab a pig or a goat and just, dislocate their jaw and just swallow them whole. And everyone knows how big goats are and pigs are. There's a gentleman down in the Everglades in Florida. He and his partner set a new record, and I think a new record is set every so often. So this isn't like a groundbreaking, super awesome, this is hard to overcome thing, but they captured another big ass python in the Everglade. Ryan Osborne, a contracted python hunter with the South Florida Water Management District, and Kevin, quote, snakeaholic Pavlidis, another contracted python hunter with the Florida Fish and Wildlife Commission, captured a monster-sized python on Friday, October 2nd. This is last Friday, along the L-28 Tybeck Canal, about 35 miles west of Miami. On social media, it was written on Friday night, "We pulled this beast of a snake out of waist-deep water in the middle of the night, deep in the Everglades. I have never seen a snake anywhere near this size, and my hands were shaking as I approached her. Every python we catch can be potentially dangerous, but the one this size can be lethal. One mistake, and I am for sure going to the hospital. But more importantly, this is a once in a lifetime snake. I could go out every single night for the rest of my life and never see one this big again." That's a big ass snake. He described
they get huge. Those things get huge. They'll actually eat alligators.
They eat alligators. They actually, I mean, if you live close enough to the water, they'll come into your yards and eat your pets. And they're not native species. And the state of Florida, especially in the Everglades area, they have a budget for bounty hunters for snakes.
You know what they go for?
I've got that broken down here in the.
Okay, I was about to say I know this right off the top of my head, but if you've got it broken down, you're more welcome to give it out.
So he described the capture as a real quote unquote battle. He says, I am just incredibly grateful for this opportunity and this experience that I will never forget. Realize what you have, and then cherish the experience and the moment. Be grateful, be respected, and be thankful. Osborne said that he knew as soon as he saw the snake that he had that the snake had some size, but until they actually walked into the water's edge, they did not realize how really big the snake was. Usually snake hunters grab pythons by the head, but Osborne said that he had to grab her by the rear and started pulling her, and then she immediately turned back and anchored herself against a tree. It took every ounce of strength to keep her from slipping away. He's caught more than 400 snakes in the past 2 years, but none even came close to the size of his most recent catch. The snake was officially measured on Thursday by the South Florida, this Thursday, by the South Florida Water Management District, which oversees the snake's python hunter program. The Burmese python was 18.9. The report says 18.9 feet, but it was actually 18 feet 9 inches. That's a long ass snake, dude.
Yeah.
They didn't say a weight, but from some of the accounts that I've read, it's probably a 150 to 200 pound snake.
I believe it. They get big. They get huge. Huge.
This is why the state started a bounty program in which registered hunters earn a minimum wage rate for up to 10 hours of work per day, plus a bonus for their catch. $50 for each python measuring up to 4 feet, plus $25 more for each measured above 4 feet. Hunters who catch a nesting female python earn an additional $200.
Oh, they dropped that down. It used to be $350.
It used to be $350?
Yeah, they must have dropped it. But they hired like I think 1,000 more bounty hunters just recently. So this.
Yeah, I guess there's an approval process that you have to go through. But as long as you're licensed,
it's pretty stringent. I applied for it just for S&Gs to see if I could get it, and it didn't happen.
So scientists estimate that there are between 100,000 and 300,000 pythons in the Everglades of different species.
You know they're crossbreeding, right?
They must be. They must be. And this all started with someone letting their pet snake go.
Actually, from what I understand, it was like Hurricane Andrew back in like 1996.
Dude.
They had some sort of snake thing going down, and they busted out of that because of the hurricane.
No way, really?
Yes.
I can't imagine. I mean, it's a very favorable climate. It's very tropical. I'm looking at this picture, and the gentleman on the left who has the beard in the t-shirt that says "Got Python."
Yeah.
He kind of resembles Stefan, one of our listeners, who is also a Florida man. So
that Florida man.
It's not him, but they could be brothers or at least distant cousins.
Yeah, everything in that picture just screams Florida.
Yeah, the overgrown weeds in the background and
the overcast like sky. Yeah,
with another impending hurricane. I think Florida's gotten off pretty easy with the hurricanes this year.
The only place that really got tapped was from that one that kind of like was moving really slow over there by Louisiana a while back. Like last month, I think.
Was that Laura? Hurricane Laura?
Yeah. It came up enough to tap Cedar Key, which is kind of like on the Gulf side of.
I saw that. I did see that because before the hurricane even hit land, it was just. I mean, Panama City and all of that stuff in and around was just getting nailed by rain.
Yeah, they got like 3-4 foot storm surge from it. So I mean, it wasn't nothing unless you've been to Cedar Key and you know that like 3-4 feet means a lot there. So.
When you're right at sea level or just above sea level, 3 or 4 feet is huge. When you're in New Orleans and you're actually below sea level, a 3 or 4 foot storm surge. This storm surge here is what, 11 feet, 10 or 11 feet, I think is the estimate. That's a lot, and you have to hope that all the protections that are in place work.
It's deadly at that point, huh?
It is. I remember, was it Katrina? Hurricane Katrina, everyone knew that was going to be a bad storm. It was a Category 5 hurricane, and I was on a social media, like a chat room, and I got crucified for. I'm like, I understand. I was posting things like I've never been to New Orleans, but I appreciate everything that New Orleans is. It's put out some really great new musicians, and there's some great folks there. There's some really legit, awesome human beings that come out of New Orleans. So I asked the Cajun food, exactly, food and snacks. So I asked the question, why would anybody live, and I called it kind of a toilet bowl. You're living below sea level. You're at the mercy of human-made structures that are going to fail. Everything fails. There's a whole bunch of maintenance that has to. Every machine fails. You just have to maintain them, and when things are good, no one thinks about the things that have to be maintained until they break, and then all of a sudden it's emergency. And sure enough, that storm came over New Orleans, and just it really screwed things up, and they're still recovering. A lot of our new employees came from New Orleans just because they're like screw that. I'm not living there anymore. I've rebuilt my house twice.
Katrina messed Houston up too. A lot of people don't realize it because of all the I won't say refugees, evacuees kind of got stuck in Houston real bad. I would remember that there was like bums fighting in the street over like $20 and stuff. It got crazy.
You know, when your life and livelihood, not so much livelihood, but when it comes down to your life, like, fuck, I'm hungry, I've got to feed myself and my family.
You'll do dumb things.
You're going to do some stupid shit. I get that. I completely understand that. Fortunately, I've never been in that position to have to do that, but desperate times call for desperate measures. I don't know what I'd do. I think I would do anything if I had, mouths to feed and no way to earn an income in which to be able to do that. I think I might do some shady shit.
Yeah, it all depends on the situation, I guess, really, to tell you the honest truth about it. Huh?
So it just occurred to me that we got Columbus Day on Monday, so a lot of the Joes out there are celebrating a 4-day weekend. That's awesome.
I was shocked. I was like, they still actually honor that holiday. I mean, I knew there was a big. I'm not trying. I'm about to break that 0.5% here. I'm going to stop right now.
Yeah, we don't want to break the seal on the. We want to stay at like 92 to 92.5 political free type. But yeah, man, I really didn't understand. I really didn't get that. Our Columbus Day holiday used to be on the books. The union, I don't work for a union, but the union that's within my company negotiates holidays. And sometimes Columbus Day is in there, other times Columbus Day is not. It's kind of like a floating holiday. It's Martin Luther King, Columbus Day. It's weird. So this year there's no Columbus Day holiday. Which is fine. I mean, I prefer to work. I really don't like days off.
You're one of the very few people I've ever heard say that.
What, that I prefer to work?
Actually enjoy work.
I prefer work. If I'm not, the thing is, if I'm not working, if my okay, I'm divorced, my kids are grown and they're gone. What else do I have to do? I prefer to work.
Keep yourself busy. I mean, at least you're not like making craft brew beers and weird stuff, not working.
I actually considered brewing my own beer, but I'm just like, that's going to occupy spaces in my house that I don't want to give up. So I'll just go to the store and buy it, which is likely cheaper. I'll bet you it's a whole lot cheaper to just go to the store and buy it.
If you really were interested in brewing beer, I would suggest not even starting with beer and I would say mead. It's the easiest thing to learn with.
I've heard that, and chicks dig it, like mead.
Yeah, mead. Mead is legit.
Tell me about mead. What is mead? I am
Mead
uneducated.
is a honey wine. It is probably the oldest form of making alcohol, probably, because honey doesn't go bad.
No, it doesn't.
They found honey in like sarcophagus from Egypt, 2,000 years old, still good. All you do is just add honey and water and yeast, pretty much. You don't even need to you could wild ferment it too, where you just add water and honey and mix it up, get a lot of air into it, and you have an alcoholic drink in about, I don't know, a month time frame.
Damn. I might have to not experiment with making it, but like if I can probably hit up some of my friends and say, hey man, mead? Oh yeah.
Mead is legit. It's just, okay, there's dry meads, there's sweet meads, there's spice meads, there's mill meads, there's all kinds, but this regular old mead is good.
Okay, you kind of sound like, Bubba there for a minute.
Bubba.
Sorry. What kind of mead we got? We got spice Bubba, or we got spice mead, we got fishy mead, we got sweet mead, we got honey mead.
I don't know about that fish mead. That might be kind of nasty, but if your mead tastes like fish, it probably came out bad.
Yeah. Unless you like fish. If you're a seafood lover, you might, fish mead just might be your thing. That might just be the next new Pabst Blue Ribbon fish mead seltzer.
Reminds me, I was in Arizona at a bar, and I was talking to the bartender. He's like, we got this really cool vodka in, and no one wants to try it. And I was like, all right, let me see it. And he pulled the bottle out. It was some privately made vodka, like I guess a distillery up in Alaska somewhere. Mm-hmm. But they made salmon flavored vodka. It was the most disgusting crap I ever tasted in my life.
You tried it though.
Oh, I tried it. I'll give everything a go. He's like, it's pretty good. I'm still trying to figure out what I can pair it with, and he's trying to figure out ways to mix it to make good drinks. And
what do you pair fish? I mean, okay. If it's a fish vodka, then okay, it's going to have a fishy taste. What do you pair that with? Fish crackers? I don't know.
Cream cheese and crackers probably.
Cream cheese and crackers is what I'm thinking of.
Salmon roe, caviar. That's
something spicy, maybe spicy or spicy or salty.
Mary, maybe a Bloody Mary. It'd probably be good. A Bloody Mary. I never even thought of that.
There you go. See? This is how we work through problems here on WTF Nation Radio and U.S. Army WTF Moments. So if you ever come across a salmon vodka, you can just pair that with a Bloody Mary. I don't think I've ever had a Bloody Mary. My brother, who I'm going to see over the Christmas holidays, I'm going to see my family, which is awesome because I haven't been up there in such a very long time. He makes his thing on New Year's Day is that's all he does is he makes his thing is Bloody Marys. So he's got a bunch of different recipes, and he is the connoisseur of Bloody Marys.
That's the breakfast of champions right there.
I've never had it. I like tomato juice. I don't unlike vodka. It's not my drink of choice.
If it's a good Bloody Mary, you won't realize you're drinking vodka. And
until you get up to
if you've ever been out partying real heavy and you wake up in the morning, you got the worst hangover on the planet. And the hair of a dog is the cure, and a Bloody Mary is perfect, especially with a nice omelet.
Because it almost seems healthy, and then all of a sudden your headache's gone away, and you're functional again.
Like buzz again. Yeah.
All of a sudden you're getting chatty at 10 o'clock in the morning. Whoa! We were talking about snakes. Now we're talking about Bloody Marys.
Salmon vodka. Yes. The train has derailed.
It's definitely going off the track. So do we go to this next story? This is kind of political, but we can leave the politics out of it. How many of our listeners are here from California? When I was in the Army, I'm not saying back at Bragg, but when you're okay, Heath Barlow says beer and Clamato juice. I've never mixed beer with it.
That is the Clamato, and it is really good.
I've never mixed anything with beer. Beer has been beer.
You can get those. You can buy little cans of those at the
Clamato juice.
Budweiser makes a Clamato.
Let me see. I can't say I have never mixed anything with beer. I had when I was in Korea. There was some kind of. It's called a Harbor Light. It was
Is it like a soju kind of bomb?
It was soju. It was 151 something. It was things that were flammable. Yeah, I think it was the 151 that was in that was flammable. They light it on fire. You drop it into beer, and then you drink it. And it kind of tasted like a flaming Dr. Pepper is what it tasted like.
Oh, I love flaming Dr. Peppers.
Right?
They're dangerous, though.
I know.
Dangerous.
Like after one, and then add about 15 minutes, but then you're like, you've had one, and you're like, oh, that wasn't nothing. So you have another, and then you have another. So you have 3 within 15 minutes, and then all of a sudden, hey, I have to go to the bathroom, and then your legs don't work anymore.
Yep. That's how Irish car bombs work for me. I could sit there and drink the things back to back, and next thing you know, I'm like stepping up from the bar to go play pool, and I can't see straight. Huh?
So you shoot pool?
Oh yeah.
I'm
not a pro, but it's a hobby of mine. I like doing it. That's what me and my mom like to do when she's off work, whatever. She works as a corrections officer. So when we get a chance to go up to the bar, she likes karaoke. I like playing pool. So it works out.
So she's singing. What's her go-to song?
Oh, she likes Cher for some reason. I don't.
Your mom is probably a little older than I am.
Yeah, well, yeah.
You're a young fella.
Yeah, I'm not over the hill yet. No.
I mean, let me put our pictures back up there. I had the snake video up there. Pooky could be my kid.
Probably
on the outside. So yeah, I mean, playing pool. I really like playing pool. When I was at Fort Hood. Yeah, it was Hood. I really liked playing pool. When I was at Campbell, I loved. I mean, I was always around the pool table. When I was at Fort Hood, I was a member of like 2 pool leagues and then 2 dart leagues.
They've got a pretty big. I think it's like a 3-ball team here. It's real big.
Okay.
3-ball. Yeah, well, I literally just learned it because one of the bartenders are really big into playing pool. I like 9-ball. That's my go-to. But the big bar pool game that everyone loves to play is 8-ball for some reason.
8-ball. I was a member of 1 8-ball team and 1 9-ball team. Billiards. I am intrigued by billiards. I love to watch billiards. I don't know.
What's that one where they've got like it's like a blue, a red, a yellow, a red, like a black ball. There's a bunch of red balls.
A bunch of red ball. I think it's billiards. So you have
there's a certain name for it. I watched them play it, and there's just like a certain method to adding the score up and everything. And I was like watching. I was like, wow, I would really like to play that. But the table they play on that,
it's super huge, right?
Freaking massive.
And the people that play that,
the size of a car.
And the people that play that, they're just like, yeah, they're like, well, whatever. And they're just like nailing shots, man. All the really good professional folks are.
You know, I get really agitated when I'm playing at a pool hall and the light above the table is not in line with the table.
If it's off center, yes, that messes me
my
up.
Shot up so bad. I know instantly. I'm like, the light's screwed up. It's not centered.
See, I think I'm good enough at pool. If I were, it's been years since I've actually shot. I actually got rid of. I had a Miyuchi stick. I got rid of all that stuff. Yeah, but I think if I ever walked into a pool hall or went to a bar that had a pool table, I think I could hold my own. I think I would do good. I'd like to play pool against you someday, Pooky.
Not the best, but if I got the right level of beer in me, I'm pretty good.
And there's a level. There really is a level. When you
drink one too many, you're done.
But if you don't,
not enough.
But if you don't drink at all, you suck. And then there's that I'm getting better, I'm getting better, I'm getting better, and then there's it's a vertical drop.
Yeah, you start taking weird mass A shots that you shouldn't have tried to make and stuff like that.
You try to do stuff. Camp Casey had a smoker's table. He got pretty cool at it, or pretty good at it. Oh, Camp Casey. I was never stationed at Camp.
Pool. When I was in Iraq, I can't remember any billiards tables at all. I think of it.
We had when I was in Iraq, we didn't have it. When we were like staging in Kuwait, there was the tent that had the MWR center that had.
We always had a ping pong table. There's always a ping pong table, but I don't remember seeing a pool table at all.
Our MWR in Kuwait had maybe 2 or 3 pool tables, 2 or 3 ping pong tables, and then a corner in the way back that had it was a library, just had a bunch of books.
Where all the cool kids hung out.
Where all the cool kids hang out. All right, let's go to this next story. Oh my gosh, I have to make sure I have. Is this the right one? No, that's the snake one. Why are people leaving California?
Isn't it self-evident?
Well, there's that obvious question. But then, this article is written, and it is pretty thoughtful. It really is. In recent years, the number of Californians leaving the Golden State has exceeded the number of new residents moving in. And the mass exodus has created business opportunities for companies offering to help disillusioned residents settle elsewhere in the United States. So not only is Gavin Newsom driving people out, he's actually creating jobs for people who are helping people move out of the state of California. 2 of these companies are, quote, and you can call this leavingthebayarea.com and leavingsocal.com. And they're both started by Scott Fuller, who was a real estate broker now residing in Arizona. He's already fled the state.
See, this man's smart. He knows. I mean, they're fleeing in droves to Arizona and Texas. Right?
And Texas, yeah, Austin. Brr. So
Austin. Last time I was there, it was nasty. Like I used to thought it was like the most beautiful city in Texas, and last time I was there, I just felt grungy.
When's the last time you were there? The last time I was there was
last
probably
time I was in Austin. Well, besides that time, we went down. Was it a couple years back to that hospital down there in Texas to do the kind of haunted tour?
Oh, yeah.
We didn't really stay. Me and Spanky kind of just like left Austin, didn't really stay there. But the last time I was there was for a friend's wedding. Mm-hmm. He had a full blown Scottish wedding, and that was back in 2010, I think. And I didn't really like it.
Yeah, I think the last time I spent a considerable amount of time in Austin was probably 1996. So it's been a while. It's definitely been a while since I've been to Austin. It's definitely, in my opinion, it's been going downhill as far as...
San Antonio is still as beautiful as ever, though.
I love San Antonio. San Antonio would be... I took my family down there, and we stayed in a hotel right on the Riverwalk, and it was a really great experience. It was serene, and you didn't really feel the city around you because you have the Riverwalk right there. There's a lot of great museums. The Alamo's down there. Man.
Yeah.
So, back to California. The company started to provide services for people who were looking to relocate but were overwhelmed with the task. They weren't sure where to go. All these people were not sure where to go as well, and they needed assistance with the actual relocation process. Overwhelmingly, we found that our clients who have moved out of state have certainly been very happy with their decision, and they have not come back, nor do they look to come back. Before the Rona, the most common motivations for California to leave the state was based on the cost of living,
housing,
traffic, congestion, and house prices. I think if you look to any major city, the reason people live or leave them is because of those reasons. The cost of living, traffic sucks. Congestion, I guess you can, kind of lump that in with traffic, and then home prices.
Yeah,
I'm kind of
also left out taxes on that, but that was on kind of, that's my 0.01% there.
I think that comes a little bit later, but I'm thinking of my area. I live in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex on the Fort Worth side. I handle the traffic. The traffic isn't that bad. I go about 20 miles to work. It takes me about 30 minutes to get there. That's not unacceptable, in my opinion. And that's not
terribly bad.
It's really not bad. Once I get on the interstate, the thing is, I go to work at really early, like pre-early. Normal people go in the morning between 6 and 7. I'm before that. And I get off
the main rush trash.
Exactly. I miss the big rush coming in, and I'm actually by the time that I come home, it's right before the evening rush. So I don't have any. I'm not normal. I don't have any. I really don't have anything to complain about.
Well, I mean, I lived in DC from 2011 up until I'd say about 2014 time frame, and that traffic in that
DC
area
is so bad. Flash is up in that area. I do not understand. I think he's probably pretty thankful for COVID. Work from home.
I mean,
he's like, okay.
If I needed to be anywhere in the downtown area around the Pentagon or anything like that, I would stop. I'd park in the parking garage at Franconia, and I would just metro. I wouldn't even deal with trying to get anywhere. It was insane.
I couldn't imagine being, and I've worked in Chicago, and that's not bad. You can metro into Chicago pretty easily, and then walk where you need to go. It's a big.
I mean, you could use a metro pass to get on the buses too. I mean, it doubles up. So our gentleman says, what we've really seen in the last year, especially since COVID, is people now have a lot more concerns about what's coming up with the tax increases. We're seeing a lot more high-income earners who are looking at options of moving out of California because they're concerned about their tax rate. Their tax rate is going to increase significantly. It's not... The level of their tax increase has really not been determined yet. So there's a lot of unknowns. In recent months, many residents are concerned with the state's mass fires and how those are being handled. So as far as the mass fires, I think there's a lot of problems in California where they don't allow the controlled burning. They don't allow people to take care of their properties just because, some freaking turtle or frog or whatever. Yeah, it's insane. That there's a big complex circle. We could do a whole show on that, no? With the forest fire.
Yeah, I think a controlled burn is the way to deal with these things, or ways to get rid of the brush.
Well, that's how
because
we dealt with it in Virginia. We would have a burn season. You would get a permit. The fire department would come out and make sure your fire line's drawn out right, and they would be on call for you if you had any issues. Mm-hmm. But you pay $500, get your permit, burn your land out. You don't have to worry about it for 5 years.
And it doesn't, that's a lot cheaper than, paying, $500,000
for your house getting burnt down because of a crazy wildfire burning through. Yeah.
$500,000 for, your house, your land, your livestock, your whatever. I'm saying $500,000, which is not unreasonable. Because if you count your livelihood plus your house and everything in it, yeah, $500,000 is we as humans and where we live and what we do is worth more than what's on the books. It takes a lot of money to pick up and move. Neighborhoods in California are just tinderboxes, man, because there's no protection around them. The fire department can only do so much.
Blows my mind is, especially like me living on the East Coast, hurricane prone. Why don't they bury power lines?
My power line is buried. I have two neighbors down the street. Their power lines are still above. So it's like I live in an older neighborhood. So it's coming to a point where as the power companies do things, everything's going underground.
Not around where I live. It seems like they just love building power lines, and anytime a storm comes through, the power goes out.
Damn. Yeah, I had there was a show with Owl that I had probably 2, 3, 4 months ago where we had a power outage in my neighborhood, and I couldn't get in my house. Normally, the way that I get into my house,
smart stuff.
The way that I get into my house is my my garage. I couldn't open my garage, so I had all of my keys were. I have a key to the main door, but I've got a storm door that has a lock on it, and that I always lock it. I never go out my front door.
Need to make you one of those rocks just in emergency cases, you know.
I've done one better. I keep all the keys for all the locks on my house on my key ring now. But yeah, I couldn't get into the house, and the power was out. So I pulled up. I'm pushing the button for the garage door, and the garage door wasn't going up. And so I contacted the power company. They're like, yeah, the power's out. There was a transformer that caught on fire, so on and so forth. Estimated time of recovery would be tomorrow night at 6:30 p.m. I said 6:30 p.m. tomorrow, and they said yes. This will be the following day. I'm like, well, crap. I couldn't get into my house. I couldn't unless I broke a window. I could not get into my house. So I ended up staying at a freaking hotel, which cost me like $120.
Dang.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Well, I wasn't gonna. I could have got a cheap hotel, but I'm kind of bougie like that.
No,
I'm not gonna stay at a roach motel.
I'm the same way. If I gotta sleep somewhere at night, it better have like memory foam and like a waterfall shower. And
I wasn't that. It wasn't that good. But yeah, I had to stay at a hotel that night, and it's all because one pole that supported a bunch of power lines fell down, and that killed the power for the entire. There was my zip code, and there was like 75% of that zip code was they had no power. We had no power at all.
It's crazy. One transformer blows up, takes that many people's power out.
It did.
Oof.
So, quote, what we've really seen in the last year, especially since COVID, I've already read that. Statistics released last year by the California Department of Finance showed that the state lost nearly 40,000 people between July of 2018 and July of 2019. In a one-year period, they lost 40,000 residents. State officials said that it was the first time since 2010 that people left California over the course of a year, contributing to the state's slowest recorded growth rate. They've had a negative growth rate. California has a negative growth rate.
So their answer to everything is to tax people more?
Taxing is a part of it. Now a lot of the respondents to that survey they know they're going to get taxed, but the wealthiest are like, no one knows exactly how much they're going to get taxed. So they're just like, they're just pulling their tent stakes and they're getting out.
Oh, that makes no sense to me. Like, no one knows how much they're going to get taxed, but they know the tax increase is coming.
Yep.
Usually, like, I know around here, they did a gas tax hike. We knew it was going to be so much before it was signed, and everyone was like, yay or nay on it.
So you can budget for it, or you can consider it. You can consider it before you vote on it. But the way that they prescribe, or the way that they pitch these increases, they're just like, oh, this is for police and fire, or this is for taking care of the children, or they dumb it down. They don't dumb it down. They just kind of.
A lot of people are leaving Virginia. I left Virginia because of it, because they were taxing everything they could tax.
My ex-in-laws live in Virginia, and they're just like they're trying. They went from Montana to Virginia, and now they're just like, oh my gosh, I have to get out of Virginia because this sucks. It's a Commonwealth, so
everything's taxed.
Everything is taxed.
If you throw a yard sale sign on your own property and a tax assessor rolls by, you're getting a check in the mail, a bill in the mail.
A bill in the mail. You're not getting a check. You're getting a bill.
Not a check, a bill. I meant a bill, but they are going to bill you for signage usage.
I had a gentleman that I served with. I was at Fort Campbell, Kentucky, and he had a car that was registered in Virginia. And he was, I guess the car registration in Virginia for an out-of-state resident is just horrible.
Living in Northern Virginia, a lot of people I know, like especially a lot of the government workers, I noticed would get their cars registered in Maryland.
Yeah, exactly.
It was way cheaper, and I don't know how you pull that off. Register a car, being a resident of Virginia, yet registering a car in another state. I don't know how that works.
You find an address. You find an address. I did the same thing to get my kids into good schools. I found a person that said, "Okay, on paper, rent me a room in your house." And I use that address to get my kids into a good school.
Gotta do what you gotta do.
I said it.
Gotta do what you gotta do. I totally agree with that.
So another reason why people leave areas is because of the crime rate. And this is kind of a crazy story because it's not really a story. It's just a list of facts. A lot of people don't like living where they live because of the crime, or they don't want to move to an area because of the crime. I've been to a lot of really great places in Detroit. I used to live just south of Toledo in a town called Perrysburg, Ohio. I've been to Toledo. There's really great places in Toledo. Toledo sucks. I used to do jobs in Detroit in some really great places. The places where these businesses were awesome. I had a really great time. The people were really freaking awesome. But Detroit, by and large, sucks. It's because of the crime. So I've got this list here of dangerous cities, and I really hope you don't live in one. If you do live in one, you do what you got to do. You know what's really crazy? If you live in a bad area, let's say Baltimore, I'll bet you have some pretty kick-ass neighbors. I'll bet you go and you do your business day in, day out, and things are awesome. But it's just that shitty gang or drug element that makes things bad. People.
That's exactly what we have here where I live right now. I mean, I live in a very heavy tourist location, and tourists don't want to come here anymore because the violence is getting so bad.
That's horrible, man. So here I've got a top 10 list of the top 10 deadliest cities, and this is from 2018 to 2019.
Okay, because I think mine made it just 2020.
And the threshold is citizens or
per 100,000.
I think it's 100,000 per 100,000. Stockton, California is rating the lowest on this. When I'm thinking crime, I'm thinking Stockton is pretty bad.
I remember guys in the army. I'd be like, "Yeah, I'm from California.
I'm from fucking Stockton."
You.
Woo. Anyway, Stockton, California, 1,386 crimes, and these crimes are rape, murder. They're violent crimes. They're all violent crimes, not like petty theft or anything like that. So these are crimes per 100,000 residents. Stockton, California, 1,386 crimes per 100,000 people. So that's 1.386%. The mayor is Michael Tubbs, and you can probably guess his party affiliation. Milwaukee, Wisconsin is number 9. 1,413 crimes per 100,000 residents, 1.413%. Tom Barrett, you can guess the party affiliation, and his is a population of 585,000 in his town. Little Rock, Arkansas, 1,446 crimes per 100,000 residents, 1.446%. The city population is 197,000. Frank Scott Jr. is the mayor, and you can kind of guess his political affiliation. Cleveland, Ohio. That's where I was born. 1,000
is a cesspool.
1,449 crimes per 100,000 residents.
No offense.
Frank G. Jackson, you can guess his political affiliation. Kansas City, Missouri. Not Kansas City, Kansas, where War Horses for Veterans is located. Kansas City, Missouri. Casey Mo. 1,590 crimes per 100,000 residents. Population is 505,198 people. Quentin Lucas is the mayor, and you can probably guess what political affiliation he is. Where am I at? Number 5. Number 4, Baltimore, Maryland. There we go, Baltimore.
Oh, yeah, good old Baltimore. You know, I went to the Baltimore Zoo, and all they had in there was pit bulls.
1,833 crimes per 100,000 residents. Jack Young, guess the party affiliation. The population of Baltimore is 590,479 people. Birmingham, Alabama. This one surprised me. I've never been to Alabama. I've never been to Alabama.
Alabama.
Is it bad?
South. Dirty South, man. Yeah.
Dirty.
They call it. That whole section down there is pretty nasty.
There's a lot of really great aviation jobs in Alabama, and I don't know if they're anywhere near Birmingham, but that's the big city in Alabama. Randall Woodfin, you can guess his party affiliation. A lot of people there, 208,940 people.
So what are you saying? Is there a correlation to all this?
There's somewhere. I think it might be if you're an odd-numbered population, then you have a higher crime rate or violent crime rate. So here we are in Red Lake's hometown, Memphis, Tennessee. 1,943, 1.9% crime rate per 100,000. Jim Strickland, who is go ahead and guess their party affiliation. Memphis is a lot larger than I thought it was. 647,374 individuals in Memphis proper. So I'm kind of nervous because over the Christmas holidays I'm going to be driving up to my brother's place first, and then up to my parents' place in Wisconsin. My brothers live in Chicago, and then I'm going to drive up into Wisconsin and see my parents. On the way back, I'm going to hang out with Red Lake for a day.
So are you more nervous about hanging out with Red Leg, or are you?
It was really crazy because I know Red Leg lives here. I know where he lives. I'm like, where? I'm going to stay in Memphis. Let's stay in Memphis. When's the next time I'm actually going to be in Memphis? So I wanted to. I'm looking at hotels. I'm like, wow, this is a really great hotel. They have indoor parking. So I'm like, this is gonna be great. I can take a day off. I will take an extra day. I'll go to Graceland. I'll go and see the sights. So I've got the hotel page pulled up on my computer, and then I opened up a new screen, and the next thing I did was pull up a crime map. And then I'm like, fuck that. I got up with Red Lake. I'm like, okay, I'm going to be in your area. This is where I'm going to be staying. Let's meet for dinner. So yeah, that's it's one of those things where I'm just like,
there's bad places anywhere you go, man. It's keep an eye over your shoulder, make sure no one's following you.
And as I'm traveling, I'm like, I'm also checking, okay, what are your Second Amendment laws? How do I travel through the state of Arkansas or or Missouri or the state of Illinois and still be able to carry a gun? Illinois sucks. Illinois really sucks. Illinois got some really bad Second Amendment carry laws. The best way they have no reciprocity at all. The best way that I can, according to the state police of Illinois, the best way to travel with a firearm in the state of Illinois is to disassemble your firearm, put it in a locked box, and separate it from the ammunition.
That's how normally if I travel state lines, that's normally how I do it. No? It's the safest way to do it. No?
What I'm going to do, I've got a Pelican case, and I'll separate the ammo, and maybe up until I get to like Joliet. I really don't worry about traveling in Illinois with a loaded firearm, which is I travel loaded all the time, but I really don't. I'm not going to care about it until I get like north of Joliet and into the Chicago metro mess that they have. So yeah,
well, as long as you stay out of the south side of Chicago, you'll be all right, huh?
That's where they live. No, it's not. It's not where they live. They live in the burbs on the south side, so they're good.
South side.
I'm not worried. If I'm going to get pulled over, no one ever counts on getting pulled over. But and here I am, my face on camera, going, yeah, I'm going fucking strapped in Illinois. So yeah, I am.
You just got hit up on every watch list, my friend.
I don't care. I really don't care. So we got tons of shows coming up. Our set list, what do they call that? The not scratch sheet. So we're gonna do some housekeeping here. The cut sheet.
Fumble the ball.
Fumble. No, I bobbled it. I didn't fumble it. So we got some really good guests coming up. Christian Brunetti is coming up on the 13th of October, which is a Tuesday. On if you guys haven't checked out Pop Culture Warrior, you need to, because this is
awesome show.
This is like this is my favorite show. I'm not a pop culture person, but CQ kind of puts it into context, and he kind of dumbs it down. He breaks it down Barney style, and I really have a fun time listening to his show. I don't get to catch all of it, but he's had some really great guests in the past, and he's got another one coming up here. Christian Brunetti began his career on TV and film after spending nearly a decade as a member of the United States Army. He is returning as a guest, but will making his first appearance on Pop Culture Warrior to chat with CQ. And 20 October, I saw this email come out, and I was like, there's got to be some kind of mistake, or they really need to clarify who this is. On the 20th of October, which is another Pop Culture Warrior show, Louis Anderson is going to be on the show. Iconic comedian Louis Anderson, 3-time Emmy Award winner and one of the country's most recognized and adored comics, named by Comedy Central as one of the 100 greatest stand-up comedians of all time. I had to ask, I'm like, is this like the Louis Anderson?
Louis Anderson.
Like the Louis Anderson is coming up. He's going to be on Pop Culture Warrior on the 20th of October. His career has spanned more than 30 years. He is a best-selling author, star of his own stand-up, comedy specials, and sitcoms, and he continues to tour the country performing in standing room only crowds nationwide. This guy is funny. He is funny as fuck, and he's going to be on WTF Nation Radio on the 20th. I can't believe it. I had to ask him, like, is this like some guy named like Louis Anderson, or is this the Louis Anderson? So yeah, Louis Anderson is going to be on. You can catch any of our shows. We have 4 shows per week. The Monday edition with Ice and Flash, of course, on Monday. Pop Culture Warrior is on Tuesday with CQ and Radar. We have a Donza Day. I know, Spanky likes hearing the word Donza, so I'm going to say it like 4 times. Donza.
You to say Donza.
Donza. And then Sergeant's Time with Ice and Spanky on Thursday. And then Friday Night Freedom's here with KOZ and Pooky. God, I love Friday nights.
Ooh.
You know what? You've done such a great job. I'm going to give you next Friday off.
You're gonna keep me? Yeah, okay.
I'm going to give you next Friday off.
Good.
I'm taking off next Friday. We're not gonna have a show next Friday. I'm going to a mutual friend's wedding, and it's gonna be awesome. Maybe I'll be there on a Thursday night. I'm gonna hang out with Spanky on Thursday night. And then,
you can tell our mutual friend, that I'm highly agitated that I didn't get a save the date.
Oh no, I'm so sorry, dude. But yeah, I'm going to be gone next weekend, and then I think I am going to be taking some time off over Christmas to go and see my family. So, thank you all very much, everybody, for hanging out. Do you have any parting words for us, Mr. Pooky?
Stay safe, people. You know, it's a crazy world we're living in. You know, that's about all I can give you.
I would just like to say, don't take anything personally. There are differences, political differences, and things are happening that cause people to be assholes. Take it with a grain of salt. Just go, and I'm trying to do that. I've got some really good friends that I know online that are just saying some really hurtful things, and you're all just fucked up and racist and it's
racism.
I know it. I know that's not what they mean. They're just very. This is a very emotional, wrapped up time, and hopefully everything is going to be over after November 3rd, and things are going to calm down at least for a little bit.
Radio.